Buy, sell or rent your property with Century 21 and you could win a brand new 2-bedroom apartment on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia. Visit c21prize.co.nz for your chance to win.
Welcome back to Your Property Empire. Well, joining me tonight on the show is Steve Carroll, Head of Sales at realestate.com.au, and we've just been joined by Charles Tarbey, Chairman and owner of Century 21 Australasia. Well, we were just talking about the ARIAs with Steve just before the ad break. So I guess why did the REA Group decide to hold an awards event?
Well, there are so many agents, so many companies within real estate who do some amazing things, and as the leading website in Australia for property, we just thought we should acknowledge, reward these people and have our own award. So we did.
And so, kind of, how many of the agents are entering these kind of competitions? And obviously, you had some amazing judges on the panel. I mean, who were some of the other
Well,
judges?
you were one of the judges, I think. So, no, we had 17 awards altogether, as I mentioned earlier on, and we had thousands of entries. And obviously, if you got an award, as one of your offices did, you did incredibly well.
Well, there are a lot of real estate companies that don't have awards. There are a lot of independent agents that don't have a platform. And so they might use their institute or they might use another organisation, but they've got very few platforms to present themselves on. So I guess the National Awards does help that way.
Yeah, and I think we've got a picture of your guy. He won the Residential Property Campaign of the Year.
Grant Smith. Now, he is an amazing... That's Jackie, his PA. He is an amazing real estate practitioner. Right from the early age of 21 or 22, opened a C21 office. Was featured on A Current Affair for all the right reasons and the way in which he promoted a property. He brought glitz and glamour to it before you see the $1 million shows in the US. You know, a car dealer parking the right car in the driveway, a jewellery store bringing jewellery on display, a champagne. He created an environment that A Current Affair picked up and promoted it very strongly, but he's one of the most unique real estate practitioners out there and quite an incredible auctioneer at the same time. And he's still just turned 30, so...
Because, again, a lot of the viewers out there might be thinking, look, who cares what the agents do? They're paid a lot of money, they're supposed to sell my house and that's what they get paid for. But this is the difference of when you're choosing an agent. Yeah. If you choose one like him with stacks of awards versus someone that's just come straight out of school, what difference is it going to make to the sales price?
He's very conscious of his image and very conscious of the community he lives in. And in the Sunshine Coast, it's still a community there where people know people. And if you wanted to market your property, you would go to him because you know you're going to get the absolute best exposure. And again, as Tom was saying earlier on, the more exposure you get, the more opportunity you get for bidders. The more bidders, the more chance you have of getting a higher price. And Grant brings that to his listing presentations and his listings all the time, and he's well known for it in the area. So that's an award that was well deserved. I know the award had something to do with a property was difficult to sell. Is that right? And I didn't know you were one of the judges, Chris. I would have protested there, but he did a remarkable job in a number of different ways, not just in the Current Affair story. So that one wouldn't come as a surprise to me that he would win an award.
So look, we're doing the judging thing. Some of it was just amazing, where they'd have a G-pad and it was going off to find your property. You just get something really cool and it just goes viral because you smile and you laugh at it and you show your friends. Yep. And that's how it gets out there, isn't it?
That's right, absolutely.
And you were talking about Ray White before as well. They had something about an innovation. Can you tell us any more about that?
Yeah, so it's a program they ran last Easter where they used augmented reality to bring their print advertising alive, I should say, through digital. So very briefly, you held your mobile phone over a print ad, and the print ad came through the phone, and through the phone you could see a selection of other photographs, floor plan, details of the agent, and it was using augmented reality very proactively. So
this was technology you developed at REA?
Well, it was technology that... So the concept was from Ray White, and the technology was developed by REA in conjunction with Ray White and a company called Platter.
Yeah. Is that going to be expanded to...
It's something that we're looking at.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. So again, for the agents, there might be some old school sellers out there that have never sold a property in their lives, and they're thinking, I don't know anything about Facebook and online. Yeah. I just want a traditional agent. But do these people need to know, well, you actually need your agent to get into some of this stuff?
I think a person out there now looking at doing business has really got to discover all areas. There are so many digital disruptions in our industry, Chris. I was chatting to some people today that are bringing another platform to the industry, and it's another cost base. Like there's an amazing number of cost bases to the industry right now, and even the old school buyers and sellers like me have had to get up to speed with technology.
Yeah. Well,
you were saying before that a lot of people don't even watch the videos all the way through, so you need people that are right on this information to know what is the perfect time for a video. Yeah,
well, it was a study tour that I went on, and what I learnt was 94% of videos don't get watched until the end, which is quite incredible.
Wonderful. Well, let's jump to your numbers, Charles.
6% are watched by the people who made them. The balance. Yes.
Auction clearance rates.
Clearance are still really strong, Chris. Very strong across the country, 77.5% on a national basis. This time last year was 63.7%. So still up, and this has been like that for quite some time. The best performing capital city was Sydney, 82.1%. Followed by Melbourne at 80.5%, but coming in third was Canberra at 79.5% clearance rate. So still strong. And Brisbane hit 54.1%. So Brisbane's been in the 50s climbing, which is very strong for Brisbane, 54.1% strong. So they're having a strong marketplace there too as well.
Now, the last few weeks of homes advertised for sale.
It's been pretty average, but this week it's another small climb, which is great for everybody, of course, plus 1.86% climb. New Zealand fell back 11.2%. Theirs seems to be so erratic. They'll have 15% gain and a 11% loss this week. And interestingly enough, Auckland actually didn't have much of a drop, but the rest of the country did. So the stock issues still surround the industry. We are nowhere near the stock levels that we would like to see on the agents' books at this time of year.
Yeah.
Well, just like Tom was saying before, was hopefully they'll list even if it's December the 24th and they could be the first in.
That's right.
Because there's still buyers out there, isn't there, on the 24th and the 3rd of January?
Best time.
It's hard to get a solicitor to work, but if the real estate agent can exchange it...
I think in most parts of the country they're calling conveyancers now, and they'll take their business at any time, so it seems to work pretty well.
OK, and how about the rent price movements?
They've been pretty strong this week. They're up 0.47% over this time last week. The best capital city was Sydney at 0.68%. And that came after Brisbane at 0.45 and Melbourne at 0.21, but the other capital cities all had a decline. But for the year to date, we're up 2.16% on rents, so it's actually a good, solid climb, a steady climb that we weren't seeing last year. It levelled last year for quite some time. Now we're seeing a good climb.
Now, quite often you talk about New Zealand kind of leading the way. Are you getting any signs from New Zealand that's telling us much about our market, what we might see?
Yeah, their market is preceding ours. They are having stock issues because there's been a lot of activity in the marketplace there. I spoke to the guys in Wellington again the other day, and they said it's right across the board in Wellington, there's hardly any stock available. And if it comes on, it sells. So they're still in the boom market in a strange way over in that country.
And what about the vacancy rates?
They're actually climbing again in some areas. Perth climbed to 9.77. I mean, it went through 10% a few weeks ago. 9.77% is incredibly high, and the agents' revenues are being significantly impacted by it. Obviously, so too are the landlords. But Sydney remained at 0.84%, which is an exceptional vacancy rate, and Melbourne at 3.05. So that's 4.55 for the three capital cities, a slight climb. But Perth is the one, again, that we've just got to keep an eye on and just hope to see something change in that marketplace.
Wonderful. Thanks for the update. Now, Steve, obviously at Head of Sales, you're speaking to the agents pretty much all the time and all around the country. Are you getting any kind of feelings as to how we might start next year? Because quite often what I find with Christmas is you just never know. It could suddenly have a really slow start or it could go gangbusters. Yeah. Any thoughts or ideas?
Look, I think it's going to be fairly sluggish until Easter. I'm not sure if you would agree with that, Charles, as far as supply is concerned, but we're seeing demand for property at an all-time high, particularly New South Wales and Victoria.
So it's kind of bad for the sellers, but in terms of capital growth out there, because a lot of our viewers would be investors, that's typically a great sign, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the doomsday or the bubble. People are talking about that a lot more at the moment because of this issue with stock. So I agree with you completely. It's going to be sluggish unless we get some stock.
Yeah.
That's what's really causing all the problems.
And generally, a lot of people are talking about the brand new properties, and if there is going to be a bubble and it's going to come off, then potentially it's those. Is it typically the CBDs like the Melbourne, the Brisbane, potentially maybe the Sydney?
Definitely some parts of capital cities that are going to struggle with that because there is an oversupply in some areas coming onto the market. I think up in north in Queensland, their economy still hasn't recovered to the extent that it should, and there's quite a few apartment complexes coming up there that could impact on an oversupply in the wrong area. And what I mean by that is that not everybody wants an apartment, and we're just not getting that stock in that people want.
And again, another thing I find, we get quite a lot of clients that actually husbands speak to wives because they've actually got a bit of time over Christmas and they go on holidays and the rest of it. I guess of all times to study the market is there may not be properties for sale, but at least they can then start doing the research and I guess reading on some of those articles on your site to actually get the education so that they can hit the ground running. Yeah,
I mean, without question, on the internet, there's so much data and information available online now that if you've got some time on your hands, you can research. You're not going to run out of stuff to read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any other tips for sellers or buyers over the coming month?
Well, I think sellers have got a very good opportunity at the moment because of the limited stock levels. And the biggest issue is if you're going to sell, you need something to buy. So as we've all said to so many people, if you're downsizing, you really will probably not get too much of a better opportunity than now to get the top price at this end. And if you're discretionary spending areas, they're the ones that are first to collapse. So I would suggest that if you're looking to downsize and move into discretionary spending areas, now's your best opportunity.
Wonderful. Charles Tarbey from Century 21, Steve Carroll from realestate.com. Thanks for joining us as well. The other end of the TV for this evening. We'll be back next week. Until then, I'm Chris Gray. Good night.
The information featured in this program is general in nature and therefore should not be relied upon. Guests appearing on the program may have commercial arrangements with some of the companies mentioned. Before making any investment, insurance or financial planning decisions, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you.